that means I'm offering you truth. If it's your first time here, welcome. If you've been here before for one of my energy readings, welcome back. I'm Asneferka. I am the mother of Tehuti Ma'at. We are a revolutionary instrument focused on really developing revolutionary institutions in the areas of healing, art, and education, and focus the resurrecting the collective spirit as we revolve on this planet and restore the planet. So today I'm coming and I'm doing things a little differently for those who have been here before. I'm sharing the reading and I'm focused on the cards for this reading. And I just felt really guided that I'm meant to shift my energy in the way that right? So right now I'm discussing exactly how that's going to happen. And this is just one way that I'm gonna go ahead and try out, right? So this is my pyramid reading. I will put the information in the description if you're interested in booking an oracle reading with me. I do not do traditional tarot readings, so I always like to give that disclaimer. My intention is to transmit ancient sacred wisdom, particularly Kemetic Sacred Science from our ancient African ancestors through the wisdom of the cards and the symbolism of our ancestors. So as you can see, I'm using an alchemical oracle deck. It's particularly using ancient African symbolism from what most people know as ancient Egypt, but what our ancestors, and we have to use our own vibrations, and the language that we use is the land of Kemet. So this is Kemetic symbolism, all right, from ancient Kemet. And I'm also just being far more intuitive right now with the flow of this reading. Now, the pyramid reading is something that I also offer as a personal reading. And the way that my readings work is I pull my card readings in ritual, in fire ritual usually. And when I pull the reading, my intention is to gather the energy in the collective, right? So this energy reading is timeless. Whenever you get here, it's already a divine connection and there's a message here for you, so you can trust that regardless of when you get to it, because that's a particular time where you are aligning with this energy, right? So the other thing that I'm feeling strongly pulled towards, right, that I recently did that I feel has some significance to the energy that wants to come through this reading. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that here. All right. Now, that being said, for whatever reason, I feel guided to put this here for now. But the flow of the reading, when it comes to this pyramid reading, it has 4 layers, 4 tiers, and it's based on the 4 elements. So we start with the fire principle at the top. This is the guiding principle. Then we go into the spark. This is the spiritual essence and the guiding principle of the entire reading. So it's like the energy's flowing downwards. We go here into the air element. That's the Ba, the magical mental body. So it's coming through on a soul level and it's entering through our mind first. Then the energy comes down into the water element, which is our emotional body. So this is how we actually sense and feel the energy. And then it comes into the physical material world. And this is how it actually manifests into form and how we experience it in a more tangible way in our lives. Now, I do the interpretation for the entire reading for those who are members of the Tehuti Militia, right? So that's our membership program. If you want more information, we'll also have a link about joining the militia. Even if you join at the Kingdom rank, which is $22 every month, you get access to all the extended readings. You also get access to our monthly virtual healing ciphers, our community connect. You get access to our private Discord server, which gives you access to our warrior workout And these are exclusive gatherings for our members only, right? Virtually on our private, known as the ARC, the African Rehabilitation Center, okay? It's a collaboration between Tehuti Ma'a and the African War College, which known as the Amos Wilson Collective, okay? So that being said, for today's reading, I'm going to zoom in and we're going to focus on these first 3 cards in the reading. So just want to make sure that we can see them here. So that first card at the top there is in the house of Ra, and the card is Atum, okay? First and foremost, whatever comes up for you intuitively during the reading is what you want to take note of. That is of any reading, is the energy that you interpret and that comes through your intuitive intelligence. So whatever comes up for you, I always encourage people to pause, take notes, and that's how you receive the message through the symbolism, okay? Now, Atum is in the house of Ra, which is the house of the sun. It's a solar energy. It's a 1 card, which signifies it's an initiatory card, right? 1 is the first number in the sequence. It always means beginnings and initiations, okay? So when we're looking at this card of Atum, Atum represents the beginning of creative power. Now, remember that we have to interpret these cards, the symbolism, I should say, and of our holistic ancient African perspective, right? Which was a cosmic worldview. So our cosmology expressed the sacred science as various natural forces and principles that we can all embody, right? We are connected to divinity. Divinity is not externalized. It's energy that we are a part of, right? We're within and it's throughout us, right? So Atum is a creative power. It's the creative force of the universe. And cosmologically, meaning our interpretation of our existence, the beginning of our existence, the creation of our existence, it's the first impulse to creation, right? Because Atum is a symbol of self-projection. So this energy is really symbolizing something within us that we're birthing out, that we're projecting out from ourselves, that creative impulse that we're guided to honor during this cycle, okay? Atum is also what we know in scientific terms as the atom, right? It's literally that, scientifically speaking, because Atum is to be complete, okay? This is a early pre-dynastic symbol, right? Neteru. And Neteru are aspects of divinity. And as you can see, he's fully black. Energy in this reading. There is feminine energy also, but there's a lot of specifically phallic energy, which is why this is really about sexual healing. Okay? So if you're here and you're reading this card, you more than likely are on a journey to wholeness within yourself, balancing your masculine and your feminine energy. And the full reading really is expressing how that is literally going to come through regeneration, rejuvenation, literally through the sexual energies. And we have to remember that the sexual energies are creative energies. Okay? So even on his crown, Atum, on the top card here, he's wearing the double crown here, the red and the white crown representing lower and upper Kemet, right? So the union of the 2 regions is the crown of Smaitawi. Smaitawi is the union of our higher and lower self. That's what it actually symbolizes. And the land is the reflection of that. He's also in black because the blackness represents the fertility of the land. Again, sexual energy, creative energy, right? In its neutral sense. If you are here and you have yet to go through that purification process to recognize the sanctity of sexual energy through its neutral, pure essence as a creative life force, then that's the work you're being guided to. If you're already on that journey, this is literally to confirm that the work that you're doing to balance the energy within yourself, to purify, to cleanse, and to heal through balancing your masculine and feminine energy, right? Your active and your receptive energy. That is literally bringing that healing, okay? So Atum, as I said, is to be complete. So it's representing fertility. When we're moving into this second card here, it's specifically moving us into the mental realm, and it's what past thought patterns that still have an influence on the mind right now. All right. So this is energy, and it's very important to recognize that the reading is in the realm of eternity. Okay. So within eternity, there is no past, present, and future. We're dealing with this holistically. So it's the energy that's behind, and this is the energy that is in ahead. All right. That we're moving towards. Because it's not a matter of time, it's a matter of movement. So I want you to recognize that through the reading as well, and throughout life, honestly. So right here, Ta, in the family of the land, it is the number 3, and the card is Ujat. The 3 symbolizing creative energy, okay? But it's also symbolizing the left eye of Ra. The left eye of Heru, which is the lunar eye. The right eye is the solar eye, the eye of Ra. So the lunar eye is representing the feminine, it's representing the intuitive force. Now remember, whatever comes up for you intuitively as you look at the symbolism is the most important thing. So take note of that. It could be a thought, a color, a thing, a person, whatever it is, that is the essence of actually how the imagery stimulates and activates and recovers our genetic memory. So you want to take note of that. And that's also the practice for strengthening your psychic ability and your own ability to tune in to yourself. You don't need to ever go out. And that's what this entire reading is about. It's about union within yourself and recognizing that you have everything that you need inside of you, and that is going to allow you to attract it outside of you. All right. So the card Ujat, the eye. This is the green energy, right? There's something here also about land, right? But the blackness of the land is the fertility of the soil. The greenness of the land is the vitality of the foliage, okay? She is the Neteru of the north. It's interesting because we have the Neteru of the south underneath, but I'm not going to get into that. If you are a member of the militia, though, we're gonna get into that. It's a very balanced reading. It's very beautiful. Now, she is symbolized by the cobra. And it's very important to recognize, it's interesting on this level, we have 2 serpent energies. And in our ancient symbolism, the serpent energy is not inherently an evil or negative energy. Honestly, there's nothing that's really just outright negative in that judgmental sense. It's everything becomes a part of the system as a whole and serves a purpose, right? It's divine in its own right. Now, there are serpent energies like Apep, which is a parasitic energy, that can be interpreted as negative. But in this case, when we're dealing with the cobra specifically, we're talking about divine feminine intuition, which is very interesting because in the major Western religion, but specifically in Christianity, it is villainized that the divine feminine force is inherently evil, right? Brings sin into the world, Eve. But what it really represents is our divine feminine intuition. So there's something inherently in that spell to deactivate our connection and villainize our divine intuition. Okay, and this doesn't matter if you're a male or a female, we all have masculine and feminine energy. So that womb energy, right? We all came out of a womb, is the intuitive principle. What connects us to the womb, what connects us to the feminine, is the fact that there's an aspect of our energy that is receptive and open to transmission from the universe, right? From the creator, from the divine, from Neter, from nature, right? So Wajet really represents spiritual awakening and enlightenment. All right. So the actual light that's birthed within the darkness. And that's illumination, right? It's also the flow of creative energy. So it's opening the way through the intuition for that creative energy to flow, because that Kundalini energy, many people know from the Sanskrit word Kundalini, but that's that sexual, that energetic spiral that moves up the jed, up the spine, right? And it's a masculine and feminine flow or current of energy that moves up our energy centers, which are called Aritu. Many people know as chakras. If you're speaking about one chakra, it's an Arit. If you're speaking about plural chakras, it's Aritu. Aritu. The U at the end is the plural. So this energy is representing some form of enlightenment, some form of protection and power that we've embodied mentally from the previous cycle, and specifically royal power, awakening our divine essence, right? Our recognition of our soul's journey. And specifically, if you're a part of this collective and this soul family, it is that royalty that you're carrying, right? Because we're also talking about from the past life energy. So moving forward, the energy goes into Kemetef in the family of the moon, and the number is 8. 8 is the number of infinity, eternity. In essence, it's no ending, right? And Kemetef is Ouroboros, and this energy is energy that's ahead of us, and it's symbolizing really immortality. It's the serpent swallowing its own tail, right? So whatever in terms of that symbolism, right? Because again, the 8, because it's usually shown spiraled in that figure 8 as it's swallowing its own tail. It's a primordial energy, meaning we're talking about the essence of existence before existence, within the abyss, before there is light, before there is existence, right? Because Neter, the divine, the creator, what many use in the English term of God, right? That divine totality of energy, it's everything and nothing. So we're also talking about certain energies that are primordial energies. And before there are 8 primordial forces, before those even existed, Kemetef existed. And Kemetef is known as the one that fulfilled his time. It's a masculine energy, but it does represent the energy of immortality, right? And thinking about certain thought forms, right? Because again, this is in the mental realm, certain thought forms that are meant to continue to exist eternally. But also it represents something fulfilling its time, right? So being clear on what's no longer needed or necessary. And simultaneously, it can also represent the return of something that you thought was done, that you thought was gone, right? Because it really represents the continuity of life. As something ends, something else begins. Energy, right? That rejuvenation. And as we move down the rest of the energy of this card, which I'm going to do for the extended reading, it's really going to illustrate that specifically through the phallic elements, right? The masculine erection, right? So we're talking about the active creative force. When we look at the feminine sexual energy, it's receptive. When we look at the masculine sexual energy, it's active. And remember, we have both within us. The masculine side of us is what creates our sex drive. The feminine side of us is what creates that emotional connection, that spiritual connection through the physical. Because the masculine is going to activate the more dense elements of our energy, right? Our lower energy centers, and the feminine is going to enhance the higher energy centers. And remember that I don't want you to think of this in an African centered context, right? Because in our Eurocentric context, we're constantly putting things within a hierarchy and dichotomizing them as if one is better or worse and one is above and the other one is below, in the sense of one being dominant. And that's not the case. We need all the energy. We all have all of the energy, and we both have masculine and feminine. This is about that union within yourself, right? Which means flow and current of your sexual energy center. Okay, so this is very, very important energy for us to move through right now. There's a very important sexual clearing that's happening energetically for the collective spirit. And it's important to recognize that those higher energy centers are important and the lower energy centers are just as important, but they need to be in balance. And that's the essence of what we're being taught. So I'm just going to come forward real quick just to close out the energy. All right. So let me take off my glasses so there's no glare. So what I really want to say here before closing out is I really want, if this resonates with you in any way, because I think that's also why I'm being guided to zoom in on the energy, it's very important to connect with the work that we're doing. There are a lot of resources within the Tehuti Militia. Literally, I think right away to the microcosmic orbit meditation that's in the Navigating Eternity course, and the different gatherings that we have virtually, and being able to share raw sources, practices, and spiritual tools. So if it's something that resonates with you, I definitely want you to join the militia. You can always reach out if you have any questions via email. So that being said, I want to thank you for tuning into this reading live, and I want to thank you for your energy. All right. So yeah, just remember that the energy starts within yourself, and then it's going to manifest, because everything that we attract is going to be a reflection of what's going on in our inner world. So we